welcome to this video. Now, 9 hours ago, as I am making this, GGG launched a video changing endgame changes that they're making. And what would you know, I was proven right again. So, I believe it's this video here, I went over how towers are useless, towers are terrible, running maps is pointless, you don't want to run the content that's in the map, you have no choice but to run that content in that map. And guess what? GGG is changing all the things I said was wrong with the game. They're shrinking map sizes. They're changing how maps work. They're changing how you can juice your maps. So guess what? I was right again. Now to bring up again. All you trolls that keep going, you're wrong, GGG, da 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 da. Right here. Because once again, I was proven right because GGG is changing it. It is a good change, hence why I said it was still terrible and the end game sucks because of how they've got it laid out. Now we get to choose our maps. The content is in the map. Sometimes it's going to be bad, sometimes it's going to be good because obviously, same as Path of Exile 1, sometimes you run into content you don't want to run into based on your character and all that, which is fine, that's part of the game. That's what we expect already. But being able to actually juice your maps, not your towers, because they spread out all the towers, because they didn't want people overlapping towers, because they want people to go all over their atlas because you need to, because of the nexus, blah, 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 blah. The next thing they need to do is have a hard cap throughout the thing, which will then increase the ability for people to want to do the end game. They need to make the towers actually pinnacle areas that unlock the next area, which will mean you run more maps to get to that tower. That tower then is significant and meaningful, which then unlocks the next area, which is a higher level or difficulty or whatever. And then you run more towers, getting your level, getting your everything. You hit that tower, it's a significant impact to your end game. Goes to a next area, higher level, higher difficulty, and you're just building into that end game. But yeah. So, in short, I'll skip ahead a bit. So, shouldn't be too loud.
Instead, tablets can now be placed on the map device.
I said it shouldn't be too loud, but so in my ear it's crackly, so I won't play it. You can stick the tablets in your map device, and the more mods you got on the Waystone, the more tablets you can add, and then it runs down to 0, and then you got to find another map. So, and then they're going to eliminate the whatever you have in that tablet from the possible chances of the random stuff spawning. So if you want to farm breach, you smack in 3 breaches in tablet form, and then you run the map you want, the layout you want. There'll be a boss, you can just run the boss, we'll get to that in a second, but say you want to do breach. You smack in 3 breach enhancing tablets. Smack in 3 breach enhancing tablets on a map that you want. So say you find a very open layout one, because obviously breach you want as open layout as possible in 99% of the cases. There are little instances where you want corridor-ish type stuff, but that's a very niche way of doing breach. We'll won't get into that. But say you find an open layout waystone, you're going, this would be awesome for breach. Previously, you have to do 50, 100 maps until you find that layout with the breach, with a tower that you can empower, and then do the breach with one tower. Or do 500 more maps until you find a perfect area where you got 3 towers so you can juice it up. In this, you find a layout you want, you juice up your waystone, then you shove in the tablets, and then you have a breach juiced map on a layout you want, which will improve people's want to do the content, because otherwise you're pretty much stuck with their tower and map choices. You don't have a choice, now you do, which will overly 50,000 times increase the ability for you to do some of the content. Now, Delirium, say you have a character that you can take things on in front of you, not necessarily behind you. You have a more closed layout. You can then juice up it in a Delirium sense and just hit those hallways and destroy. Now, there's different ways to do Delirium, but in this game, there's certain classes and stuff that pretty much you want stuff in front of you, not all around you. Now, we skip ahead to towers drop stuff, make them worth keeping in the game. Otherwise, they just have to delete the towers. They're adding bosses to each map, and then the maps with boss icon are harder bosses. I assume they're the ones going to drop your +1, +2 level waystones. Obviously, the boss being technically a higher level than the area, just the way that it works, can drop it, but the bosses with the icon over the map before you get in there, I assume will drop more +1, +2s. So yeah, you can run the boss, kill the boss, finish your map, just like in Path of Exile 1. One of the biggest things I pointed out in that video I showed was the huge amount of area I had to travel just to get the rares. Now, as long as the bosses aren't like 10 Ks away, and you got to pretty much full clear anyway, now you can rush the boss on map layouts and stuff you don't want, or just rush the boss, next map, rush the boss, next map, rush the boss, next map. And if you have a fast character, mainly dex based, is probably your faster characters, you can halve to 3/4 less time per map doing this, in depending on how they implement it, because it looks like you're in a separate boss arena. So maybe it's just the way it looks, but if it's in a separate area, all you need to do is find that arena, enter, kill boss, next map. Now, some of the builds and some of the speed you can go, this will make maps pretty much as quick as Path of Exile 1, as far as getting to the boss and clearing it. Now, I would say, just as a general guide, don't rush the boss early endgame. Even with all the changes they're going to make and everything, whatever they're going to do next patch, don't rush the boss early endgame. You need waystones, you need levels, you need gear, you need currency. So, just as a side note, unless your build is super over the content and you're just one-shotting everything and you got plenty of waystones, all that, don't rush the boss early endgame. Wait until you are really in endgame, as far as you got waystones, you got gear, you got crafting materials, you got all that. Just as a side note. So, the point, was it 0.4 patch is just going to be content, not mechanics. More the way they said it, they're going to test all mechanics before the actual next patch, and then tweak the mechanics in the next patch. So, ritual farmers, guess what? You just got the ability to earn hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of divines. Abyss farmers that do the depth stuff, that want all those echoes and all that. You just got the ability to earn hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of divines if that's what you want to do. Breach, I don't think it's recovered well enough from the nerf. Having the ability to juice Breach and Delirium and stuff more will help. But I think Ritual and Abyss pretty much just became the OP farming for, let's say, late endgame, because some of the stuff that you get from it, you need that higher tier, especially Abyss. That's the higher tier stuff sell for what you really want to get for all the meta crafting. So I assume this is seconds, microseconds, milliseconds, because if this is minutes, seconds, milliseconds, I've never taken an hour to do a map. If this is what they're actually... Wait. I'll mute the sound so it shouldn't have any sort of like thing. We'll have a look at the time. No, that's hours, seconds, minutes. Bring it up full. What does this say? Can I pull? It's because I'm recording and stuff. That can't be this map. That's got to be the entire mapping. So they've spent 56 hours. Are they like one shot and everything? So I'd say T15s. 1,700 gold. That's got to be T50. They've spent 56 hours in the end game to get to late end game, I would assume. So their calculation is based on the fact that people are taking 50, 100 hours just to get to an end game that has nothing for you. Which, again, I'll bring up the video because I do talk about the psychology behind it all. You want people to want to run these maps. Now, pretty much everything but the towers having a purpose other than clearing the fog, they changed the way I pretty much said they should. Okay, I've rattled on enough. Once again, all the trolls, haters, and all that keep going, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Guess what? Right again. It's amazing how many times I get proven right when just because I'm not saying what all the popular people are saying, yeah, I say my opinion, not whatever's hype. And guess what? My opinion is 99% of the time unbiased. There's some things that obviously I'm human, I'm biased towards or against. It's just, I can't help it. But let me know what you think about the changes and all that, and whether you're going to enjoy doing the endgame more, or you've been waiting for something like this so you can actually do the content you want, or anything like that. But I'll catch you in another video, and goodbye.